8 million. That is how many KitKat bars roll off a single factory floor every 24 hours. Stack them end to end, and you circle the Earth's equator roughly once every 4 days of production. Inside that red wrapper, 4 grams of wafer, a precise layer of chocolate cream, and a coating tempered to within half a degree, is a process that begins not in a factory, but in a cacao pod hanging under West African sun. Here is how 450 tons of raw cacao beans, dried for 8 days under tropical heat and roasted at temperatures between 120 and 150 degrees Celsius, become 8 million chocolate-covered wafer bars in a single day. Harvest starts in July. Workers move through cacao groves in Ghana and Ivory Coast, 2 countries that together supply roughly 60% of global cacao, cutting mature pods by hand with short-bladed machetes. Each pod weighs between 300 and 500 grams and contains 20 to 50 raw beans packed in white pulp. Within hours of cutting, workers split the pods open and extract the beans by hand. The beans are then spread across wooden drying racks or raised mesh platforms and left under direct sun for 8 days, losing approximately 60% of their original moisture content. Fermentation and drying together develop the precursor flavor compounds, primarily pyrazines and esters, that no artificial process can replicate. Once the beans arrive at the factory, they carry no more than 7.5% residual moisture. That threshold is verified by near-infrared sensor before the beans enter the line. Any batch above 7.5% is quarantined. Excess moisture allows mold to develop inside the roaster and contaminates the entire drum. Beans that pass enter a rotating cleaning drum. Inside, the beans tumble against each other at low speed, loosening the brittle outer shell fragments left from drying. Simultaneously, a forced air aspiration system running at roughly 3,000 cubic meters per hour pulls shell debris, dust, and any foreign particles out of the stream. What exits the drum are clean, intact beans, uniform in size, free of surface contamination, and ready for the step that defines the flavor profile of every KitKat bar produced that day. Roasting begins immediately after cleaning. The beans enter a continuous rotary roaster in batches. Temperature climbs from ambient to between 120 degrees and 150 degrees, 248 degrees and 302 degrees, held for a duration that Nestle does not publish. This is one of the few genuinely proprietary parameters in the process. What is known, the Maillard reaction, which produces the characteristic roasted chocolate aroma, begins above 105 degrees Celsius and accelerates sharply above 130 degrees. At 155 degrees Celsius, the same reaction begins to generate bitter off notes. The roaster therefore operates in a window of approximately 25 degrees. A deviation of even 5 degrees Celsius across a batch, caused by an uneven bean load or a calibration drift, shifts the flavor profile measurably. Each roasted batch is sampled and evaluated against a reference standard before it advances to grinding. After roasting, the beans enter the winnower, a machine that cracks the outer shell and separates it from the inner nib using a combination of mechanical rollers and aspiration. The nib, which represents roughly 87% of the bean by weight, is the only part that continues into chocolate production. The shell, the remaining 13%, is collected separately and sold as a low-grade agricultural amendment or composting material. The nibs enter a series of grinding stages. First, a coarse mill breaks them down into a rough paste. Then a refining mill reduces particle size further. The friction of grinding generates enough heat to liquefy the natural fat content of the nib. Cacao butter makes up between 48% and 57% of the nib by weight, producing what the industry calls cacao liquor, a dark, fully liquid paste with 0 added ingredients. This liquor then enters a hydraulic press operating at pressures above 400 bar, 5,800 psi, The press separates the liquor into two streams: cacao butter, which exits as a pale yellow liquid, and cacao cake, a solid disc of compressed, largely defatted cacao solids. Each cake weighs approximately 7 kilograms. The cakes are then pulverized into fine cacao powder. If the residual fat content in the powder exceeds 10 to 12%, the powder clumps and cannot be mixed uniformly. So the press time and pressure are held to tolerances that keep fat content within a band of plus 1%. The cacao powder, cacao butter, whole milk powder, sugar, lecithin, and a small set of undisclosed flavor compounds are combined in a large mixing vessel. The proportions are Nestlé's proprietary recipe, but the physical targets of the mix are known. The resulting chocolate paste must reach a fat content of approximately 30 to 32% and a solid particle size below 30 microns before it can advance. Mixing alone does not achieve that particle size. The paste moves to a 5-roll refiner. 5 steel rollers stacked vertically, each rotating at a different speed, with gaps between them set to progressively tighter tolerances. The paste passes through each gap in sequence, being sheared thinner with every pass. By the final roller, individual solid particles, sugar crystals, milk solids, cacao particles, have been reduced to between 15 and 25 microns. At that scale, the human tongue cannot detect individual particles. The result is perceived as perfectly smooth. The refined paste then enters the conche, a large horizontal mixing vessel fitted with heavy granite or steel rollers. Conching runs continuously for a minimum of 12 hours and up to 72 hours for premium formulations. During this time, the mechanical action drives off residual acetic acid and volatile off-notes left from fermentation. Compounds that, if left in, produce a sharp, slightly sour background note in the finished chocolate. Temperature inside the conche is held between 50 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius throughout. The longer the conche runs, the more volatile acids are expelled, and the smoother the fat coating around each solid particle becomes. For KitKat's specific flavor profile, the conche cycle is standardized. Nestlé has not disclosed the exact duration, but the output viscosity and flavor profile are tested against fixed reference standards at the end of every batch. The wafer, the structural core of the KitKat, is produced on a parallel line that runs simultaneously with chocolate production. The ingredients are straightforward: wheat flour, purified water, sugar, vegetable fat, salt, and a leavening agent. But the geometry of what they must become is precise to the millimeter. The batter is mixed to a fluid consistency and pumped through precision nozzles into rectangular baking molds. Each mold receives an identical measured volume of batter, variation of more than plus 2%. Infill volume produces wafers of uneven thickness, which fail the layering stage downstream. The molds pass through a continuous oven operating between 175 degrees Celsius and 205 degrees, 347 degrees to 401 degrees. Baking time is approximately 30 seconds. In that 30-second window, the leavening agent releases carbon dioxide, creating the internal cellular structure that gives the wafer its characteristic crunch. The surface caramelizes, fixing the texture. Any wafer that exits the oven with a moisture content above 2.5% is too flexible. It will not produce a clean snap and will absorb the chocolate cream filling unevenly. The wafer sheets exit the oven at roughly 170 degrees Celsius and pass through a cooling tunnel where controlled airflow reduces their temperature to below 30 degrees Celsius over approximately 4 minutes. This controlled cooling prevents thermal shock cracking while preserving the crunch structure. Now the two production streams, chocolate and wafer, converge. This is the assembly stage, and it is where the KitKat's layered structure is built from the bottom up. The first wafer sheet is placed flat on a moving belt. A layer of chocolate cream filling is spread over it in a uniform coat. This filling is not the same as the external coating chocolate. It is made partly from rejected and defective KitKat bars, bars that failed visual QC earlier in the day, which are ground to a fine powder and blended back into a chocolate cream with a slightly lower viscosity than the outer coating. This recycling loop is not incidental. It is a designed part of the process. The internal cream must be fluid enough to bond the wafer layers without delamination, but stable enough to hold its thickness under the weight of subsequent layers. A second wafer sheet is placed on top of the cream layer, followed by another cream application, followed by a third wafer sheet. The resulting sandwich, 3 wafer layers, 2 cream layers, is then pressed under calibrated rollers to ensure uniform bonding and consistent total thickness. The assembled sandwich blocks move into a cooling tunnel set to approximately 10 degrees C, where the cream layers firm up and the structure becomes rigid enough to be cut. After cooling, high-speed guillotine blades divide the blocks into individual finger-width bars. Blade spacing is set to plus or 0.3 millimeters. Variation beyond that produces bars that either fail to fit the wrapper or present an unacceptable visual break line. The bars then move to the enrobing station. They travel single file on a mesh belt through a curtain of liquid chocolate. The chocolate, now tempered, falls at a controlled rate and coats the top and sides of each bar. The underside is coated by a roller mechanism submerged in the chocolate reservoir. 3 coating passes are applied in sequence, each adding a layer between 1.5 and 2 millimeters thick, for a total external coating of approximately 5 to 6 millimeters. After the final pass, excess chocolate is blown off by an air knife to prevent pooling at the base edges. Tempering is the step that determines whether the finished bar looks and behaves like a KitKat, or like a slab of dull, crumbling fat. Chocolate contains 6 crystalline forms of cacao butter, labeled Form Swash through Sachs. Only Form 5, called Beta 2, produces the glossy surface, the sharp snap, and the melting point of approximately 34 degrees C that allows the chocolate to melt cleanly on the tongue without feeling greasy. Forms I through IV are unstable. They melt at room temperature and produce a soft, matte surface. Form 6 is too stable. It produces a hard, chalky texture and a melting point above body temperature. The tempering machine controls this by cycling the chocolate through a precise temperature sequence. First, the chocolate is fully melted at 50 degrees to eliminate all existing crystal structures. Then it is cooled to 27 degrees, the temperature at which Form 5 crystals begin to nucleate. Then it is reheated to 34 degrees to 32 degrees, which melts the less stable Forms Y through IV that also form during cooling, leaving only Form 5 seed crystals in suspension. The entire cycle must stay within plus 0.4 degrees of each target temperature. A deviation of 1 degree in the final reheating stage to 33 degrees instead of 32 degrees begins to dissolve Form Y crystals as well, and the batch must be cycled again from the beginning. A batch that exits tempering with the wrong crystal distribution will bloom within 24 to 48 hours. The surface turns white and matte as unstable fat migrates outward. That batch cannot be sold. The scale of what this factory produces in a single day is worth holding for a moment. 8 million bars. Each bar weighs approximately 41.5 grams in the standard 4-finger format. That is 332 tons of finished product, leaving one facility every 24 hours. To sustain that output, the factory processes approximately 450 tons of raw materials per day across all ingredient streams. The chocolate enrobing lines alone move at speeds up to 1,000 bars per minute, roughly 16 bars per second per lane, across multiple parallel lanes. The mold filling lines for individually molded formats run at over 200,000 units per day per line. Zoom out to the annual scale. KitKat is sold in more than 80 countries. Global annual production across all Nestle facilities, including plants in the United Kingdom, Japan, Australia, Germany, and others, exceeds 17 billion bars per year. The Nestle plant in York, United Kingdom, which has produced KitKat since 1935, is one of the longest continuously operating chocolate lines in the world. The Have a Break, Have a KitKat slogan, introduced in 1958, is now 66 years old and remains one of the most recognized advertising lines in food history. In Japan, where KitKat has been produced since 1973, over 300 regional and seasonal flavor variants have been released, making the Japanese market the most diverse KitKat product ecosystem on the planet. The base bar, however, has not changed its fundamental 3-wafer, 2-cream layer structure since its original commercial launch in 1935. Before wrapping, every bar passes through an automated visual inspection system using high-resolution cameras and laser profilometers. The system checks for surface bloom, coating voids, dimensional deviation beyond +1 mm, and deformation of the break lines. Bars that fail any parameter are diverted off the line automatically. They are not discarded. They are returned to the grinding station, reduced to powder, and reintegrated into the chocolate cream filling for the next production cycle. Nestle reports that the internal recycling rate for off-spec product keeps waste below 2% of total output by mass. Bars that pass inspection move to the wrapping line. High-speed robotic arms pick and orient each bar, which is then wrapped first in a foil inner layer and then in the printed outer sleeve. Line speed at this stage reaches approximately 1,500 units per minute. The outer sleeve carries the product's lot code, production date, and best before date, printed and verified by inline optical readers that reject any package with an illegible or absent code. Finished, wrapped bars are collated into retail display cartons and then into shipping cases. Cases are palletized automatically and moved to temperature-controlled warehousing, set to between 12 degrees C and 18 degrees C, the range that prevents both bloom formation and wrapper condensation. From the warehouse, trucks dispatch daily to regional distribution centers. The standard retail price for a 4-finger KitKat bar ranges from roughly $0.80 to $1.50 USD, depending on market, placing the bar in the high-volume, low-margin segment of the global confectionery market, a segment worth approximately $180 billion USD annually. From a cacao pod in West Africa to a wrapped bar on a supermarket shelf. 8 days of drying, 12 or more hours of conching, tempering held to +0.5 degrees Celsius, wafers baked in 30 seconds at up to 205 degrees Celsius, and 3 enrobing passes, all repeated to produce 8 million units every single day. One number that tends to stop people. The off-spec bars rejected by the visual inspection system are ground up and built directly into the next batch of filling. Every KitKat contains, in a measurable sense, a small fraction of a KitKat that did not make it. What other large-scale food production process would you like to see broken down this way? Drop it in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next one.